Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and today we are talking about NNDM stock and PLTR stock. I will give a quick update on Nano Dimension stock, then we will discuss what we can expect from Palantir's stock price tomorrow after their earnings report. We will then research why people are becoming bearish and selling Palantir technologies. Then lastly, we will talk about Cathie Wood and Jim Cramer's thoughts on Palantir stock, which is interesting because they are on opposite sides of the investing spectrum, so we should hear both of their thoughts. Go and press the like button right now if you own either NNDM stock or PLTR stock. Comment what you think will happen after Palantir's earnings report. Turn on subscription notifications to stay informed on stock news. But right now, let's make you some free money with Webull. Webull is a free brokerage app where you can buy and sell stocks, options, and cryptocurrencies. But right now, you can get 2 free stocks with Webull. You can get the first free stock, which can be worth anywhere from $2 to $250 for just creating an account. And you can get a second free stock, which can be worth up to $1,600 if you invest $100 or more on your first deposit. You will have a 1 in 100 chance of getting stocks like Facebook, Starbucks, or Snapchat, and you have a 1 in 50 chance of getting stocks like Google or Procter & Gamble. To get this offer, just press on the link in my description box down below, but do it quickly because this offer will not last forever. And without further ado, let's get into today's stories. Nano Dimension stock has fallen over 20% in the last 2 weeks because the NNDM stock price has gone from $8.35 all the way down to $6.67. At one point, the stock went down considerably for 5 days straight. If we compare these losses to the Nasdaq, which has risen over 0.5% in the same time period, Nano Dimension is sitting 168% below its 52-week high, which is at $17.89, while its year-over-year revenue growth has declined slightly at 0.3%, which sits at around $3.4 million annually. However, an analyst says that Nano Dimension is at least worth $10 or more, so depending on how long you are willing to wait, you could have close to a 40% gain or more from its current price. For PLTR stock news, Palantir has their financial earnings report coming out, and right now, Palantir Technology stock looks to have started a bearish downtrend right before their earnings. Palantir would need fantastic news to get themselves out of this downward trend, and we will talk more about that when we perform some PLTR stock analysis. But in the meantime, I will enjoy the discount, I will average down my price, I will make sure Palantir does not make up more than 5% of my portfolio, and I will leave room to average down through dollar cost averaging. We should keep in mind that Palantir is relatively new on the public market, and this is only their 3rd earnings report, which I think will be enough to beat their last earnings report due to their new contracts this quarter. However, I do not think it will be good news in terms of causing the stock price to rally. Not to mention that Palantir has financial data going back much further than 3 quarters, and huge improvements can be seen in their financial history. What we really should be looking at when this report comes out is their gross margins, because Palantir's gross margins has been all over the place, but their gross margins are very good, coming in at 80.5%, and the year before came in at 71.1%. If Palantir has another quarter of 80% gross margin because of the adoption of their Foundry platform, this will indicate that the bulls are right and that Palantir is a top-tier software company, which could cause some PLTR stock price action if the margin greatly exceeds the 80% mark. However, investors will look for more than just the gross margin numbers, such as the revenue, and so far Palantir has guided a 45% year-over-year growth. So even after the pullback and the trajectory that PLTR stock is on, Palantir will need to hit an 80% gross margin and around a 45% increase in their revenue to get investors truly excited again. However, I do not think that Palantir will be releasing any astonishing numbers tomorrow, but I also don't think that they'll miss any of their marks. Specifically, I think this will be a decent earning report, but the earning report is going to be somewhat bad because it's not going to stop the price from falling. Right now, analysts predict that the EPS, or earnings per share, for PLTR will be 4 cents per share, which is pretty good, but of course we always want to strive for better. Palantir has also lowered its operating expenses. It's also lowered its sales and marketing expenses by 23%, along with its research and development expenses up to 14%. The three things that we really want to focus on are the revenue, the gross margins, and the earnings per share. However, this is not likely to be a quarter where a beat on these metrics on its own will send PLTR stock higher. Now, with all of this being said, let me tell you what people expect Palantir to achieve tomorrow in their financial earnings report. So as we've discussed, their earnings per share, or EPS, should be 4 cents a share. Their projected revenue is $332 million. And we want the gross margin to be as high as possible. Jim Cramer had to say this about Palantir, and I quote, "They pride themselves on moving stocks through, even if the fundamentals don't merit it. So I think this could be another opportunity to do some buying. The stock is down big from the mid-20s, where they had driven it up to." So Jim Cramer, who's been hyper skeptical of Nano Dimension and Palantir, has changed his mind on both, at least it seems that way, to where Palantir is a much better deal and he's more comfortable buying the stock. There's also good news here, because on Friday we had a bad jobs report come in regarding unemployment, and the reason this is good is because the interest rates will stay low because the economy hasn't fully recovered, and technology companies like Palantir, who have very high price to earnings ratios, love this because future cash flows are discounted regarding to the present values. They basically can borrow money for a cheaper rate. On top of this, Palantir has a 30% compounding annual growth rate for Q4 of 2020, and this is one of the reasons why their price target was actually upgraded by Goldman Sachs. Now, I do not like PLTR as a short-term play, but I do rather like it as a long-term growth play because of their high CAGR, and Cathie Wood sees exactly what I see, which is why ARK Invest repeatedly buys more PLTR shares. However, not even Cathie Wood buying PLTR shares can turn the tides of this downtrend when it comes to PLTR stock, specifically because it has broken through its bottom support level, which is not good. Now, the bottom of the bottom is $14.33, but we do find support much above that price. If you watched the video when we talked about the moving average convergence divergence level, it signaled on May 4th as a direct sell. Now Palantir has a resistance of $20.97, which we would want to break through to return to the bullish sentiment. But currently, PLTR stock remains bearish unless this level is breached. And again, that level is $20.97. I am very excited for earnings tomorrow regarding Palantir stock. And remember, this is going to happen pre-market, so you can just tell by the stock price about what happened in that earnings report. Anyway, remember to hit that like button right now, subscribe if you are new, comment your thoughts down below, and I will see all of you in the next YT video.